Alright guys, what is up? We are back with week 3 of Halloween month. This week was Roger's pick, In the Mouth of Madness, John Carpenter film from 1995. I guess I kind of want to get your interpretations first before I give my opinion because it's very...
I don't know, I'd rather hear what you have to say.
Man,
because you've got a fresher take on it, you know?
I do, but I'm still processing this movie.
Dave knows how he felt about it before. And
now I know how I feel about it now.
I want to hear what you have to say.
I would say that for me, it was a little confusing at times. Because, I mean, definitely. That was for sure.
Might look at the title.
Yeah. It was a little confusing at times. I still don't fully understand if that was his, like, if he was maybe the author of the book, if he was maybe the author, and it was his mind, he was just going crazy, and he writes what he, portrays in his own mind. He's schizophrenic. I took that take from that movie. I also saw some like crazy psychological thriller where like some disease is taking over the world at the end of it. It's just, I don't know, it's weird to have a conclusion on that movie because there's so many things going on, so it's like hard to formulate one for me, it's just crazy. But I thought the film was a little weak though for me at some points. I felt like it kind of dragged a little bit. I kind of was like a little bit lost and I wasn't really like into it, the story. That picked me back up and got me back into it, and then kind of left me wanting. I was like, like the looping back of the car constantly 4 times kind of got old to me for a minute. I was like, the first time I'm like, okay, that's cool. Adds a little bit of suspense and does it again, and then does it again, and does it the 4th time, and I'm just like, all right, let's get on with this. I don't know. For me, I don't like those kind of scenes when it loops back in time and stuff like that constantly. But that's just a personal opinion thing. But yeah, that's kind of sums up how I feel about that movie.
Yeah.
Like, right, boom, right there off the cuff of it.
When I first saw the movie, I guess I wasn't too young because it came out in '95. But this time watching it, I'm watching it with a different eye. And it was, I thought it was a really good movie, to be honest. When I first watched it, I felt like it was a rip-off of Stephen King. But, now that I'm older, I'm watching it again, I'm seeing it more as a homage to him. Like, and it's, I mean, they mention him in the movie, but there's like, fuck Stephen King, pretty much. This guy's the guy.
I would tell you what, there was definitely parts in that film where I was like, that reminds me of Stephen King. That reminds me of Stephen King. And I understand where you're coming from that, because I was thinking that they're all parts of that movie the whole time. Like, oh, it's very Stephen Kingish, the twist in the plot.
Who wrote this?
Michael DeLuca.
And did he base a lot of this on Stephen King stories, or?
It's an homage to Stephen King,
yeah.
but it's also even a bigger homage to H.P. Lovecraft.
The imagery that you get with these monsters looks very H.P. Lovecraft from all of like the Cthulhu art and like what the art associated.
I do believe it's connecting to the audience that this is a horror film, right? Just like Stephen King, only he's much bigger than Stephen King ever dreamed of being, which is so ludicrous because Stephen King is like so big himself.
Yeah. More people read Sutter Kane in the Bible.
And that's what the question is, if more people believe in him, does that make him reality? If everybody believes in the Bible, that's what they believe is real.
And what Kane believed was that whenever he wrote, it was never him writing. It was these elder god things
speaking through him.
Speaking through him and giving him the stories to write. So he was just like a vessel or a vehicle for the message from these elder gods, and they spread some sort of disease that mutates you into one of them or something.
So the character is a character that's been written in, like he only exists because Sutter King's written him.
Right? He didn't exist before that.
No.
Now, there is a world full of people that did exist before Sutter Kane wrote them, right?
Yeah.
That happened.
There's like a real world, and then there's these characters.
That character is interjected into it.
Yeah.
And he had already gotten power to do that through the other books that he had written that was inspired by these elder gods. It was like a slow progression that builds up.
Yeah.
So that's how he could create a person in a city. He created that person remotely over here with a whole backstory and a whole life, and they thought that they were real, but in fact, they never were. He does. He questions. He's like, I know who I am, because it's very important. He's like, that's him dealing with that. They're dealing with the fact that, wait a minute, all my memories can't be written. I have a life. I have stuff I do. I had this. I had that. I grew up. What are you talking about? I'm some character you invented. He's an investigator, not a salesman. Yeah, he investigates insurance fraud. He's a perfect person to draw into this thing, is because he's always looking for the angle. He's always looking how it's a setup. Well, this isn't a setup. This is reality. So he's a guy that is always, you can't drive a guy like this crazy. They set that up in the beginning they have him all being crazy. But then they set him up to be, how did you get from point A to point B? It's like, what the heck? How do we go from that to this? This is what this movie's going to show me, is this guy's into the mouth of madness, So I thought it was a good build to that, because he really strikes you with confidence. Like, you see the guy and he's like just, hammering on the dude that's doing the insurance fraud. He went and did all this investigating. Oh, this guy's smart. You're like, this guy's in control. He's got some command of some things. And so for a character like him to fall, I mean, for a guy like me,
it's possible because they set it up that way.
Yeah.
They introduce you to him at a bad state when he's insane.
Yes. You already know from the beginning, you're like, okay, crap. It sets you up to be like, oh, this could happen to me, because,
and then when they introduce him as a sane man, you believe it and buy it. This guy's a hot shit insurance fraud.
Yeah, they introduce you right away to him, like, totally tackling down a guy, pretty much.
Peter Jason, played by Peter Jason, who's this John Carpenter stock actor.
I'm still just processing this film, man, to be honest with you. Like, because I don't understand, like, I can see why Dave didn't like the film prior, you know what I mean? I guess I could say.
I'm recanting that, by the way. I recanted that.
I know why
I didn't then.
Because, like, Stephen King has, in his writing, he has Castle Rock, and he has Derry, and he has these towns he's made up.
Yeah.
And a lot of his stories happen in those towns. And those towns don't really exist.
No.
Only in his writing. So that's what Hobbs End is. It's its own town, like Stephen King's. So that's real horror.
Yeah, when the lines on the road disappear, that's a great effect, man, in the film. She's driving out.
The whole road disappears.
Yeah, I know, but you're watching just these lines on a black screen. That scene's real dark. That whole car scene is real dark. Yeah, it's just a two-shot of them in the windshield. Yeah, like you're looking in the front windshield. And it's like everything is black. They're like in a sea of black. Yeah, that was that whole scene. And so when you're looking out the window too, it's just like all you see are the dots on the road. You don't even really see the road, the edges or anything. All you see are these dots, and then they disappear.
Now, when he's having that trip, though, like you're saying, he's like caught up in that loop. Like that's basically saying he can't escape.
Yeah, he has no choice.
He
was written to do all these things. He was written to go there
forward and
four
crash
times.
into that thing.
Yeah.
And he was written to deny it. Because that's what Sutter Kane writes, is evil, scary shit. That's what the Elder Gods like, I guess.
That's what they are, I think.
Yeah.
They just
it's also... In the Mouth of Madness is the third film in what John Carpenter calls his apocalypse trilogy. Yeah. Where each movie ends with an apocalypse, like humanity doesn't survive. And that's the real horror, In this movie, we're killing each other after we are introduced to the story of this horror writer's story. It makes us all go mad and do wild things or, crazy shit.
Grow tentacles.
Oh, yeah, or that. Yeah. Like your mind just goes to a place that you can transform into a creature.
That's a powerful book, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to read it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the...
Watch the movie instead.
It's like the Ring, videotape when you watch that and, shit happens. But this isn't a book, and then they put it in a movie. It's like the ideas that are in the thing make you go crazy.
Yeah. Maybe it's like some secret code.
Have the secret code.
You just get a certain series of ideas or words
that
in a row.
Telling me this thing about the audio where they use the frequency. Is that true?
You're talking about the there's a certain harmonics that all of our music is played at. Is a certain amount of hertz or something that our music is played at by standard. Is this what we're talking about? Yeah.
But if that's a possibility, and that's real, then you could do that with films if they learn how to manipulate it visually too. How to put the right kind of subliminal things
to actually create a reality for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's electrical stimulation, so I don't know.
To change your reality.
Yeah, to change your reality and to really change it. I mean,
Because
we don't know if his
flow,
perception has changed and this is just his reality. Is this really happening to the whole world? We assume that it does. We don't really know that it does because he keeps waking up from these dreams, you know? He's like constantly waking up from a dream that's not a dream, and you're just like, ah. You don't know the difference between reality and fiction. Really, the movie does strike on a lot of like little bits of different people's fears. It's got like claustrophobia when he's all tucked up in the confessional. It's got you know, straight up just murder, violence. It's got creepy kids. It's got dogs attacking people. It really strikes. I mean, there's more than that, obviously. Car wrecks. There's like all sorts of things that people are scared of, and this hits on a lot of them. And then it spreads like a disease, so it's like a plague.
Yeah, it is a plague.
He's good at, Carpenter's good, and I don't know if it's him or the cinematographer, but obviously he's directing the shots and stuff. But he's good at doing a lot of scary with like very little shots, you know, like he gives you just peeks of different parts of her doing that. It's never like one big whole image.
Same thing with like when the creatures are chasing them down the tunnel.
Yeah.
He gives you brief shots to, you know, because you don't want to overshow what you're less and more.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think he does a great job of that. And like even when he's showing a monster or showcasing what he's got going on, he does it in little glimpses. I mean, he even did it in the intro, which you were talking about how much you loved, of them printing the book and like sending all the book out everywhere because it was already written, obviously.
Yeah. Well, no, that was Hobbs and Horde that was being printed.
That was being printed.
And it advertises In the Mouth of Madness as the coming soon. Yeah. But that's Hobbs and Horde that comes out.
No, I think it was smart. It kind of twists your mind. You got to wrap your mind around the movie, really. And I don't know if there's, like I said, it's hard to tell. I take out of it at the end that it is reality, but you're taking it from a perspective of a fictional character. But now everything's fictional, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know. And
it's a mind trip.
Yeah. He's in the theater in the end, watching a movie of himself on the screen.
The same movie we've been watching.
That we've been watching.
Yeah.
So,
it's hilarious to him.
Well,
he's mad.
He's mad.
He's
driven insane.
He starts laughing because it's madness. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's madness.
Yeah, reality's broken down.
Yeah.
So he's crazy, or the world's crazy. He's probably sitting there hoping he's crazy.
I mean, technically, it would be one of the reasons why the madness is spread. You know what I mean? Because he's in the film. He stars in the film. People are watching him. He's in the story, so he's like the madness, I guess you'd say. He helped spread it.
Well, yeah, he brought the manuscript back.
Yeah.
Before the film happened. I don't know.
Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah, before the film happens, and then they make a movie out of it. But see, because more people watch movies and read books, that's why the mass hysteria. That's why this is the outbreak and everything.
Yeah. But there are all the time people read books, and you know, obviously they have the black church and all that stuff, and it even makes a reference to like more people believe my stuff than they believe the Bible. You know, people read books and do crazy stuff. There's holy wars all over the world. You know, so
yeah, they believe in it, and they believe in it, so they fight for it. These people read these books and believe in it, so they end up something changes in their mind that they do this stuff.
And it's not just in their mind, though.
No, obviously
it becomes physical and the laws of reality get bent.
If you live in your square little world and you dismiss things, then it's easy to look at this film and just kind of like write it off. But when you actually have an open mind on the way where the world exists, these ideas are quite unique. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I guess laughter is realizing that, and he sits in the theater and he watches the film. Maybe it's an interesting take to really deliver it like that.
Did he make his own popcorn? I'm sorry for interrupting, but did he make his own popcorn? I just thought of that while I was in there.
It was already made.
I don't know.
It was already made, right? Because it's written that way.
Yeah.
He just gets popcorn.
So I feel like that was original, you know what I mean? To a certain extent.
I was trying to just say is that it's like this idea that art would cause people to like their mind to like go to a place that we've never went. Oh well, this isn't the way our reality works. But in this film, in this story, it's the fact that people are caused to react that way, you know.
Yeah.
That would be fucking crazy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
If that was reality. If that was true, you know, that's a unique
that we
idea
could
to me.
bend reality.
Yeah, and then our physical bodies would change and shit. That's pretty fucking nuts.
Oh, man.
You know, like Freddy Krueger films, like always kind of bothered me when I was young because he's in your dreams.
Yeah.
That's like, fuck that shit. I don't want to get him in my dreams.
Yeah. Because then he could do anything.
Right, and that was you know. So I didn't really watch Freddy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
This is that same kind of psychological ideas that, you know, the boogeyman can make your whole reality.
You
his
can't even.
world. You
it's
can't
not
escape.
even a dream. It's all the time.
I mean, the black church is kind of like
Somewhat
it's
misleading.
weird. Yeah, it's
But
not. It looks like
ominous,
it looks
right?
like an ominous place. The bad shit happens in. I mean, you have no. Yeah, you know, they tell you bad stuff used to happen. She's like reading the book, bad stuff used to happen there, blah, blah, blah. You're like, oh yeah, I can believe that. I know that. You didn't have to even read that to me.
The rest of the town, though, is just a normal, everyday, like, small town.
Except that it's empty.
There's some people in the town. There's like a lynch mob.
Yeah, the guy kills himself.
Like a mob, like, going after Frankenstein.
Yeah, well, later on. But at first, there's like nobody. When they first show up there's nobody, and then that gaggle of creepy kids run by.
We got taking the kids, right?
The dog.
Yeah.
And later on, we see the dog with the missing leg, and they like got blood on their face.
And you assume that they like caught the dog and ate its leg while it was still alive. But the dog's still hanging around. I love that scene where she's reading what's coming up as he's looking into it,
it's
and
so much
describing
more effective.
it. It was so effective.
That's what
at
makes
showing something.
It's such an homage to reading, to actual like descriptive writing.
But with him like looking at it and then describing what he was seeing, it was, you know,
more unnerving. I find it a lot more unnerving than anything they could show.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Because your mind just invents the worst horrible things that it can.
Which is what's so great about reading horror stuff like Stephen King. Oh, I like just having Charlton Heston in the film.
Yeah.
He's a nice solid character.
You know, that guy has such a presence. He just does.
You don't really expect
presence.
Heston in a film like this. And I like Sutter Kane's played by that, is it Jurgen Prochko?
I don't know his name.
This movie? No, not a good
ending.
No, it's a horrible ending.
Yeah.
And it's the best ending for a horror film. A horror that never ends.
It leaves you that way. It leaves you with that feeling. There is no saving
So
grace.
when I leave the film, I'm left haunted.
Yeah.
And spooked.
So it leaves a little bit of a sour. I think it does what, if you want to make a movie scary and you want to leave your audience feeling haunted when they leave, this is a great way to do it. Jacob's Ladder haunted me as well, but it's a little bit at the end. You're like, okay, well maybe it's not so bad. There's none of that in this. You're like, this is terrible.
All right, Roger, how would you rate this film?
I claim it's a masterpiece.
Oh, give it a 5.
Yes, I give it a 5.
I gave the film a thumb and a half.
In the Mouth of Madness?
Yeah, the Mouth of Madness. Thumb and a half.
Not John Carter.
Dave, your rating of this film?
I think it's a good film. I would recommend it. It's a good horror movie. I think it startled me. I jumped. And I usually... I think there's a difference between like cheap shots that are ill-placed and ones that are well-placed. And I think these are well-placed. And I like Carpenter's camera work on it and stuff, like what he was, you know, directing the shots and making stuff truly scary, what he shows and what he doesn't, with dark silhouettes through small windows, you know, that are it's telling you a little bit, and then giving you the whole idea, but you know it ain't good. Whatever's going on over in there, you don't want any part of. You hope they don't come into the room you're in. He makes you feel these kind of things while you're watching the film. You know, so I feel like he's taking control of my emotions, which is what any good artist can do.
Yeah.
So I give this, I rate it high. It's a great film. Really, I think it's a great film. I don't know if I would rate it as like a masterpiece. I don't know if I would. It makes me think enough that I would call it great. But it's awesome. It was good. I enjoyed it. Changed my opinion tonight. Because I went from one opinion to another.
I had no idea.
Alright, well, wrap it up here. This will be our 4th week going into. We're watching Halloween.
Yeah,
for Halloween.
We all agreed.
For the week of Halloween.
The week of Halloween.
We all agreed this is Roger's next 3 picks in one movie. No.
Yeah, that's all you get, Roger.
I threw it across watch to you guys.
Yeah, no, we all agreed that this would be the movie.
Halloween would be the movie to watch for
The
Halloween.
original John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yes, the original. So it has been a good night. So we'll see you next week for Halloween.